Hello, my friends of the darkness. Welcome to another night of disturbing stories. Here, each story is more than just words. It's an invitation to feel the chills down your spine, the shivers down your neck, and the silence that remains when the story ends. Get ready, because today we're going to dive deep into the unknown. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because here, terror never sleeps. True story, the son who belonged to the darkness. My name is Helena. I write because silence sometimes weighs more heavily than the shouting. 2 weeks ago, I buried my son, Mateus. I buried him, so to speak. There was no real wake, no coffin. It was just me, a shallow grave in the backyard, and the buzzing of mosquitoes in the still late afternoon air. The community's patience finally ran out last week. The grocer's daughter, a 7-year-old girl, disappeared for an entire night. She was found the next morning, huddled on the side of the road, without saying a word, just pointing in the direction of our house. That was enough. What did they do to him? Well, there's not much left to bury. No one here will forgive me, not for him, not for me. I know it. I feel it in the eyes that flee from mine as I pass by. The woman at the grocery store, who used to call me sweet, now barely lifts her head when I ask for half a kilo of rice. Their silence is a sentence. They think I created a monster. Maybe they're right. Inside the house, it's worse. The place has become too quiet. For 16 years, I lived on high alert, listening to every creaking door, every step he took in the hallway. Now, the only sound is the old refrigerator turning on and off. I still find myself holding my breath, waiting to hear something that, thank God, I won't hear again. On the first night, the worst of all, I dragged a small plastic table into the middle of the living room, put a glass of sugared water on it, and lit a candle. I stayed there, trying to pray, trying to grieve. But what I felt was something else, a dirty relief and a deep fear, because I knew that even with Mateus dead, the story wasn't over. This stillness brought back memories of another silence. An ancient, buried silence, one I tried to forget for more than half my life. I was 16 when it all began. That day, returning from a visit to my aunt's farm, I decided to take a shortcut through the mountains. The sun was already low, the air heavy, and a strange smell rose from the earth. It wasn't wet grass, it was the smell of something old, of rot. The silence of the forest swallowed me. No crickets, no birds. And then the branches broke. Footsteps shuffled, heavy. My heart in my throat. I tried to see something. But before I could run, something knocked me down. Its weight was absurd, crushing. The smell grew stronger, and a low sound vibrated inside my head. It wasn't a voice, it was worse, it was a sound of satisfaction. Then, only darkness. I woke hours later, lying on the cold earth, my clothes torn, my body aching. Months later, Mateus was born. From his first cry, I knew that had left a seed inside me. Raising him was like raising an animal. When I was about 5, I found him drowning kittens in the stream. He said, "They can't swim, Mom. I'm teaching them." And his eyes were empty. A bottomless pit. Over time, it got worse. The children avoided him. He didn't fight, just watched, like a patient predator. I remember the day I cut myself with a knife in the kitchen. Blood ran down my arm, and he just stood in the doorway, watching curiously, as if studying his prey. That's when I realized I wasn't raising a son. I was nurturing a disaster. After his death, on the 3rd night, they came. 5 figures, tall and thin, standing in the living room doorway. The same smell of the mountains. The same face as my son. The oldest said, "We came for him." They took Mateus's body to the mountains. I followed them, hidden, to a clearing where the fire was burning. And there, before my eyes, they devoured him. Bones breaking, flesh being ripped away, chewed. Every crack, every wet sound burned inside me. And I knew. I was never a mother. I was just the soil they planted. When I returned there, days later, there were only ashes, clean bones, and on top of the stone, an object. A dark wooden amulet, rough, shaped like a twisted seed. I took it in my hands and understood, they knew I was there. They always had. It wasn't a threat. It was a gift. A mark. Now I stand here, in this silent house, holding this piece of wood. And the fear I feel is no longer of Mateus, nor of what he might do. It's the fear of knowing they're still out there. And that, somehow, I now belong to the family. And so we come to the end of another story. But remember, stories may end here. But fear continues to lurk, in every shadow, in every silence. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell, so you're never left out of the dark nights to come. Because here, terror never rests. And I await you, in the next story.